So in this section, we'll be dealing with the arc length and surfaces of revolution. So simple lang naman yung approach natin dito, no? For arc length, we'll be utilizing two formulas here. We have this arc length is equal to S, that's our designation, and then it could be A to B, and then that is the square root of 1 plus the derivative of the square of the derivative of f of x and then dx. Then kung gusto naman mo is in terms of y, so we have cd, and then that's square root of 1 plus the derivative terms of y, then square, and then dy. So ganun siya ginagawa. And then what about the surfaces of revolution? So yung pinagkaiba nitong dalawa is that, diba, yung arc length, since siya ay length lang, so we're dealing with the distance between the two points wherein we trace the curve. So halimbawa, meron tayong certain equation. So let's say this is your graph of the function, and then you're asked to find the distance between these 2 points. I mean the distance between the distance traveled or traversed by the curve between these 2 points, let's say x of 1 and x of 2. So you're not actually taking the distance between these 2 points, but the distance along its own curve. So yun yung ating hahanapin dito for this case. And then what if you try to revolve this curve? Let's say meron din tayo ditong axis of revolution, diba? So what if you try to revolve mismo this arc length? So therefore, magmi-mirror yan, something like this. Hopefully, ganyan siya. And then, you could just parang magkakabuo ka rin dyan ng parang ating, before you parang volume, diba? Now, yung curve kasi natin, diba, alam naman natin na parang distance lang yan. So, hindi siya square area, parang ganon. So, kung halimbawa, in-rotate mo yung isang particular natin na length, so, di ba, ang product nun would be area. That's why, if you have this arc length, yung kanyang, pag ni-revolve mo siya, would be the surface area. So, literally, we're not talking about the volume that can be fit inside it, or for example, yung kasya dito na ilagay natin. Kasi naman, makaka-form tayo ng ganyang figure, di ba? Pwede yung ganyan, may figure na ganyan. Pero, we're not literally looking at the volume inside of this, but the surface area that can be created from this region. So, pwede nating i-drawing yun na may mga parang ganyan-ganyan to indicate na this is a surface area. But of course, hirap mag-drawing talaga dito eh. So, parang ganyan siya, no? And yung surface area na yun, yung hahanapin natin for this case. So, and then, medyo ganyan yan eh. Para kuha natin. Medyo nagwa-warp yan. So, parang ganyan yung concept ng ating, ayan, parang ganyan siya. So, we're literally finding the surface area in that case. So, yan, yun yung sunod natin na tatalakayan. And now, if you'll be looking at the formula, we have the surface area, or the surface of revolution, that's 2 pi multiplied by the integral from a to b, r of x, and then square root of 1 plus f prime of x squared dx. Now, di ba this portion here is the arc length? Kaya dinidiscuss siya na magkasabay kasi this is your arc length, and then if you multiply that with our radius, which is actually the distance from the axis of revolution, so you'll be able to get that parang squared and then times the length. So that becomes your parang area natin, di ba? So, integrating that, so you'll be able to get the cube of that. So, in that case, you just need to find yung inyong f of x. So, usually this is the f of x, so yung original function, and then the arc length. So, pag in-integrate natin yun, makakuha tayo ng surface of revolution. And usually, magkamukha lang yung formula natin. Hindi siya magkaiba kagaya ng parang shell and disk method. So, pares lang talaga sila yung hitsura nila. Magkakaiba lang siya sa expression ng inyong function kasi it could be g of y or it could be f of x. So that's the only difference. But the rest are just the same. So yan, meron tayong exercises dito. So let's try solving this. Okay, so for number 1, let's determine the length of the arc traversed by y is equal to e raised to negative x minus ln of 2x squared from 1, negative 0.51825, negative 2.4293. So yung arc length is one of the easiest sa application ng ating integration. For as long as, syempre, gumagamit tayo ng calculator na direct integration. Now in this case, hindi natin siya actually kailangang i-draw kasi ang arc length naman is just parang length lang naman siya, assuming na continuous yung mga functions natin. So hindi na talaga siya kamukha ng mga volume natin area na medyo kailangan natin i-visualize para magets kung kailan tayo magpuputol or maghahati-hati, diba? Pero for the sake of this problem, I'll try to graph this sa GeoGebra para at least kita natin kung ano yung itsura ng arc length natin. At least para magkaroon tayo ng parang visualization, diba? So, type natin dito yung equation. That is, so pag GeoGebra type nyo lang yun. Pero sabi ko nga, hindi naman kayo necessary na mag-install. This is just an aid for your learning. Okay, and wag na tong 3D, ito yung kailangan natin eh. Anong nangyari dito? Ayun. So, ang cute nung graph nito, no? So, yan yung graph natin. At some point, saan ba yun? Ito. Anyway, so that is the graph of this function. So, the question is, find the arc length traverse from these coordinates. So that's 1 at saka 5. So tandaan nyo lang dyan is yung domain natin na nasa 1 at sa 5. So kung halimbawa, tinake natin tong 1. So diba this is your 1 something and then this 5 something. So kung 1 yun, ito yun. And then yung 5 is somewhere here. So what could be the length of this arc? Okay, so tingin nyo, gano'n kahaba. So, imagine kung halimbawa meron kayong 5 units dito and then something like 4 units dito, diba? So, kung gagawa kayo ng parang line directly with this, diba? Parang malapit siya dun sa parang 5 squared plus 4 squared and then square root. So, malapit siya sa 6.4 units. Bali, yung 6.4 units, yun yung ano yan. Yun yung parang pag ano pala to? 1, 2, 3, 4 units lang pala siya. So, parang square root of 32. So, 5.65 yun. So, technically, parang malapit yung ating magiging sagot dyan. Kasi kung imagine nyo, kung nakita nyo lang yung sinasabi ko, di ba kung gagawa ka ng triangle dyan and then you take the hypotenuse of this. So, parang yan yung almost malapit na pero hindi yun yung sagot, syempre. I'm just telling na yun yung parang value na dapat malapit yung makukuha mo. Kasi kung halimbawa, lumampas doon, or sobrang laki doon, or doble, so, magtataka ka na kasi bakit ganun yung sagot mo. Pero sabi ko nga, this solution doesn't require to draw the arc length. Pero it's very easy naman to just write the equation here and then just visualize it through here. Okay, so, this is the equation. So, y is equal to e raised to negative x and then minus ln of 2x squared. So, diba, we need here to find yung ating y prime, which is actually the derivative or the f prime of x. So, that's negative e raised to negative x. So, magdi-differentiate ulit tayo dito, no? Minus 1 over 2x squared times 4x. And then, this is the derivative and you have to substitute yung values natin dito later, diba? So that is the arc length is the integral from a to b. So that is, ano ba yung a natin? That's 1 and then 5. So yung x values lang kailangan natin kasi we're integrating with respect to x lang naman. Kung y, edi yung y. So we have the square root of 1 plus, this is the derivative and then you square that. So we could have minus e raised to negative x minus, that is around 1 over 2x. And then minus, we could have 2 over x in this case. Para simplified na lang siya. Kasi this is 2 and then over times x over x squared. So that's 2 over x. And then you square this and then you add the x. So therefore, this is your final expression for the arc length. And then you can just type this on your calculator para mabilis tayo. So 5.5281. Now, the unit is, of course, units lang. Kasi, arc length lang yan. So, length lang mismo siya. Okay, so yun na yun. That's the length of the arc. Now for the next number, we need to solve for the arc length of y is equal to 3 raised to x cubed minus 3x for the range of -1, 3. Now the graph is kind of required here. Medyo kailangan natin siyang makita kasi this is a combination of a lot of exponential functions and then the algebraic expression. Tapos range pa yung binigay sa atin. So we need to make sure na we're seeing it as if continuous lang siya or single lang siya kasi what if dalawa sila? So there could be two possible answers or dalawa or could be sum of the units. So depende kung ano yung makikita natin dito, no? So let's go back to this and this is actually the figure. So na-plot ko na siya, no? Purahin na natin yung nauna kanina. So kung mapansin nyo, we're given by the range and not the domain. So kung range ang binigay sa atin, so we have -1. This is the range. So it's like this one. Okay? So that's -1 and then 3. So this is the range of that. And ang ating concern na arc length would be this arc length as well as this one. Okay, which of this is the correct answer? Now, sa mga books, actually, ang mga given kasi usually is wala tayong gantong case na parang naghati ng dalawa, no? Wala rin tayong parang hindi tayo makapagbigay ng reference for this, pero kasi yung kanila parang isa lang siya, usually ito lang, and then the domain would be this value of x and then this value of x. Now for this case kasi, since binigay sa atin is yung range and we couldn't pinpoint kung alin ba dito talaga yung tinutukoy natin na x values kasi there could be two of them. So ang gagawin natin ngayon is we'll try to compute each of them. So for example, nawala tuloy. So, yan yun. And then, unahin natin is, diba, if this is your value of this one, this is your -1, we know that somewhere here, there are two values of x, okay? And if this is 3, there are two values of x here. So, that is less than 1, yung isa around 0.4 siguro, then 0.9 yung isa. And then, this one is more than 1, and this one is less than -1, so around that values, no? So we can use that to determine our values of x. So coming from the equation, we say that given that the range is -1, we equate this to 3 raised to x and then times x cubed. So we have x cubed and then minus 3x. Okay, and then we press shift solve, but we try to move yung ating memory. So unahin natin to. This is around 0.4. So hopefully bigay sa atin tamang value. So yun, 0.355. So I'll be storing this to A and then we'll utilize that later on. So we move we try to solve this again using our range, which is 3. Yun yung parang ending range natin. So that is 3 is equal to 3 raised to x. So ganito lang naman paghahanap ng mga values natin eh. Siyempre, kinakalculate natin to kasi hindi to kaya ng manual na paghahanap. And siyempre, may calculate na kayo. Mag-shift solve na tayo, diba? So shift solve for 3. And then, if I'll be looking at this distance lang, no arc length na to, I have to make sure na I'll be shifting the memory to around -1. Kasi -1 to eh. So, yun. Para makakuha natin yung tama sagot. So, that's -1.14. So, I can use this two values, A and B, to find our arc length. But then again, there is another one. Or there are other 2 points that we need. So, kung -1 ulit, we could use the memory that is very close to +1 kasi kung mapansin nyo, dalawa yung ating values na possible. So, ito yung sinasabi ko naman na for cases like this, kailangan i-graph. So, siguro ang best natin is i-graph nyo na rin. Total, libre naman eh, para at least kita nyo kung ano yung arc length lagay natin. Anyway, so, shift solve and then, remember, this is quite close to +1, so I'll be shifting the memory to 0.9, probably. Ayan, so that's 0.847. So this value is 0.847. We could store this at C. And then the last one, I think we do have the last. So the last would be +3, that is equal to 3 raised to x. and then times x cubed again, and then minus 3x. Okay, and then shift. So for the value of x, this is quite close to positive 1, so I'll be shifting the memory to positive 1, and that is 1.209. So therefore, we do have the limits that we need. Now for the first one, ayun, nag-close. Unfortunately, nag-close yung ating so hindi niya na-store, I think. So wala nga. Sadly, nag-close siya, pero syempre, medyo sigurista ako. So in-store ko siya sa calculator ko. Okay. So, yan. And then, yung next natin na step is we need to find our f prime of x, sorry. So, that's the derivative. So, let's try to differentiate it. So, hopefully, tandaan nyo pa, no? Wala tayong direct derivative sa calculator, so kailangan natin itong i-manual. So, we have 3 raised to x times the derivative is 3x squared, product rule, plus x cubed times 3 raised to x, and then ln of 3. And then minus 3 natin. So, therefore, this is the derivative of your expression. Therefore, for the arc length 1, which is this portion here, so, na-move ko ata itong wait, i-galaw natin to. Saan ba yun? Somewhere here. Yan. Okay. So, the arc length 1, or the S1, is equal to the integral from a to b. So, yung a natin dito before is 0.355. So, yun yung 0.355 5. So, 4 decimal lang gagamitin ko, pero nakastore siya sa calculator ko, kaya don't worry. Sorry, this is the upper limit pala. Kasi yung lower limit natin is negative. So, negative 1.1415. And then yung ating upper is 0.3555. Now, that is the square root of 1 plus, this is the derivative, so that's 3 raised to x times 3x squared, and then plus x cubed times 3x, 3 to the x, okay, wait, 3 to the x times ln of 3, and then minus 3, then you square this, okay, dx. So, the first value that it will give you would be equal to 4. So ito, gagawin ko ngayon is hindi ko na siya kakalkyo kasi baka mawala lang naman din. So that is 4.2726 units. Okay, so this is this certain arc, the length is actually 4.2726 units. Now how about the other one? So yung other one is S2, so that is the integral from, so that's 0.847 0, and then to 1.20694, and then we use the same formula lang naman. So 1 plus 3 raised to x times 3x squared plus x cubed times 3 raised to x minus times ln of 3 minus 3 squared dx. Okay, and then S2 would be equal to, basta don't forget to include yung square kasi dun lagi talaga nagkakatalo dyan eh. Kasi pag di nyo nalagay na, di baka mamali kayo, no? Pero that's just, we named this S1 and then this one is S2. So, S2 natin is 4.0198 okay, units. Okay, so we have two values for this. So, kasi depende yun sa gagamitin mong domain eh. It could be from, yun nga, from that part dun sa ating dito, papunta dito, or could be dito, papunta dito, kasi that's the range. Pero, if the problem says na i-add natin yung arc length, kasi yun yung talagang kailangan, you could add this to, that's around 8.27. Pero, as long as it's not written na kailangan nating i-add, we'll just stick with the two answers here. Kasi usually naman ang inaano lang natin is yung continuous na arc length. Kasi kung papansin, putol kasi siya dito eh. So, parang ang pangit naman kung basta natin i-add sila. So, we just take each individual value of the arc length and then i-report natin siya as two values, diba? So, for your handout kasi, naka-ano lang this, itong 4.0198, which is just one one arc length. So you also add the other one that is 4.2725 units. So ayun. And I think we can move forward na dun sa other example. So you might be thinking, why am I not using yung ating g of y? So if you go back to the equation, is there a way that you can write this in terms of parang x is equal to f of y? So the answer is it's very difficult and sometimes it's almost impossible. So if it's the case and it's impossible to use that, then bakit mo gumamit ng ganun? So hindi naman necessary yun. Basta kung ano yung mas madaling equation, yun yung gamitin natin, di ba? This is already written in y is equal to f of x where the right side is the pure function of x. So why not use it, di ba? That's just parang common sense lang yun, di ba? So let's move forward na to other problems and let me check kung meron ditong parang essential na kakaiba. So pag wala naman is, edi hanggang doon na lang muna ang ating arc length. Now for this number 3, kung mapapansin nyo, meron tayong 3 lines. Pero ang kailangan natin is yung arc formed by intersection of these 3 lines. So this is that, those 3 lines that we have. And technically, yung kailangan lang natin is this point. So kita nyo naman siguro itong intersection dito. And then ito. So yung arc length na kailangan natin is this one. So you just have to determine yung intersection nila. This is the domain. What value of your what x value will you be needing? So that's 0. And then ano ba tong x value dito? So with that being said, yun lang yun, and then just find yung ating derivative of the orange expression dito, which is orange curve, which is yun nga 1 minus square root of 3 minus x. So ganun lang siya kasimple. Okay? So I think wala na tayong masyadong kakaibang dito except this parabolic cable. So itong parabolic cable, let's try to solve for this, diba? And this is quite an application of your arc length. A parabolic cable is separated by two posts 180 meters apart. Let's try to illustrate that. So we have this post, okay? Litan lang natin. And separated siya by a cable with a sag. So parabolic yung cable natin. So ganyan siya. Sobrang baba naman ito. Let's have it something like this. Though hindi siya mukhang parabola, pero assume natin na ganyan. So it's 180 meters apart. The distance between these two is 180. Okay, that's 180 meters. And then the sag is 15 meters from the top. So that's 15. So parang from the top, that's 15 meters, yung pinaka lowest point. Ito yung sag kasi yung parang yung laylay, ganon. And then we need to find the length of the chord and the general formula that can be derived from this parabolic cable. So what is your L, which is of course obtained from the formula of S. So that is simply S is equal to the integral from A to B, and then your square root of 1 plus f prime of x squared dx. Okay, so the formula for a parabola that opens upward is x squared is equal to 4ay. So this translates to the fact that this is f of y is equal to x squared over 4a. So ganyan yung ating magiging parang pinaka-formula in terms of y lang. Kasi this is the parabola that opens upward at the origin of 0, 0. So what's next to this? No. So we need to find our 4a, the value of 4a, or the value of the origin or the vertex from the focus times 4. So usually this is your parang latus rectum kasi 4a yung distance. But how do we find that? So you could just use these points here. That is our general formula. So knowing that this is 180 meter, we could say that this is 90, and this is of course 90 as well. So for every 90, that is the value of x, there is actually a 15 meter sag. So that's 90 squared is equal to 4a times 15. And therefore, your value of your 4a, or the latus rectum, would be equal to 540. Okay, this finalizes our formula that's equal to x squared and then 540y. Okay, and then we'll be utilizing this to for our problem. So this is y is equal to x squared over 540. So you can just have the derivative that is equal to 2 over 540x. And I think that simplifies to 1 over 270. So doon natin siya isulat. So therefore, the arc length, so that is S is equal to L, which is equal to the integral from negative 90 to 90. So that's the domain kasi this one is 0, 0, diba? So if it's 90 units from the y-axis, so that's positive 90. And then if this is 90 units from the left, so that's negative 90, upper and lower limit. Then square root of 1 plus the derivative, that's 1 over 270 x, and then you square this, then the x. So therefore, the arc length of this parabolic cable, so you have to expect na mas malaki siya kaysa dun sa ating 180 na distance, diba? Kasi yung 180 distance yung nagsaseparate sa dalawang post na to. So syempre dapat mas malaki siya dun kasi nga meron tayong certain sag. So that is 183.2799 ano bang units of meters. So that should be in meters. Okay? So yeah. Dito paki-correct na lang, gawin nyo lang tong meters. Okay? Kasi nga in terms of meters naman to, hindi siya talaga units na unitless. And then the next one is we need to determine the equation of the chord using this general formula that we have already obtained. Okay, students, so pause muna kayo dyan, and I have to say this na hindi natin itutuloy yung derivation ng formula for the arc length of this cable kasi nga na-realize ko na hindi pala ko natapos yung derivation dun sa video. So natapos ko siya, but apparently yung last na dulo ng mga 10-minute part ng recording na latter part is na-pause ko, then nag-start ako magsalita, then hindi ko pala nare-record. So technically putol din. So kahit include ko siya dito, wala ring sense kasi putol yung derivation. But I'll just give you the computation or the derivation sa kahit sa PDF na lang para gets ko kung paano. Mahaba kasi siya, almost 1 hour yung inabot ko dun din. Unfortunately, yung dulo pala nun is naputol ko pa, so wala ring final answer. Okay, so that being said, you can continue learning para sa next topic, which is about the surface of revolution. So doon na lang natin ituloy yung ating eagerness, kung meron man, joke, sa ating learning. Okay? So yeah.